Hi, welcome to the latest Ask Anna video in which I share career advice and some top tips to help you in your career. Today we're going to be looking at two interview questions. What's your greatest strength and what's your greatest weakness? These are really common interview questions, but they're also ones that tend to trip people up if they're not sure how to approach them. If we haven't met before, my name's Anna Gordon. I'm a career coach with Birkbeck Futures. And we are running these videos to really help you with any kind of career-related questions that you might have. So please do get in touch with us and let us know the sorts of things you're interested in us helping you with. So, what is your greatest strength? It's a question that people find sometimes hard to answer because they want to project confidence, but they don't want to come across as sort of bragging. But there is a way to approach this where you can come across as very authentic. One of the first things you need to do is really look at yourself and do a skills audit and a strengths audit. So look back over your CV, look at some of the roles you've had, and think about what were the strengths and skills that you used in that job. Look at some of your strongest achievements. What were the strengths and skills you used for that? Once you've identified those, then you need to think, how do my strengths and skills align with what this job is looking for? So the next thing to do is actually decode that job description and look at the responsibilities that you would have, look at the person specification where they talk about the skills, strengths and personal attributes, and put together 2 or 3 different stories in which you can evidence those skills and talk about them. And a good format to use, a good framework to use, is to talk about how you currently use that strength, how you've used it in the past, and also how you see yourself using it in the future. Another thing to remember is if they ask you about what your greatest strength is, you need to talk about that, not 2 or 3 strengths. So bear that in mind, because what you're doing is you're diluting your skill set. The next question, what is your greatest weakness? Now that really does throw people because they're thinking it's going to be hard for me to look good if I have to talk about things that are weaknesses. How's that going to make me look good? But you need to get past that and think about the reason the interviewer is actually asking that question. They're not judging you. What they want to know is how self-aware you are and how emotionally intelligent you are. Because people who are emotionally intelligent have growth mindsets, they're keen to learn, develop, and are motivated to improve constantly. So to approach this question, what you need to do is identify a weakness that's authentic but not essential to the role that you're applying for, and talk about what you're doing to actually work on that weakness and improve it. It's important that you don't say you don't have a weakness because that shows a lack of self-awareness. And also it's important not to try and humble brag. And that's really where you try and talk about a strength as a weakness. So saying something like, I'm a perfectionist, is probably not a great thing to do. What you can perhaps talk about instead is how you can get bogged down into detail, but then talk about how you've become aware of that and how you're working to actually to improve how you approach that. So these are 2 questions that will come up in interviews. You might find them phrased differently. You might be asked, do you have any developmental goals this year for yourself? In terms of weaknesses, they might be phrased differently. But preparing well for these 2 questions will really help you portray yourself as a really compelling candidate to interviewers. So I hope that this has helped you, and we'll be having another session next week. And in the meantime, please do get in touch. Let us know if there are any particular topics or interview questions that you really want some help with. And remember, you are the difference in your career.